Today is the 1st of November, 2024. Coming up in today's Global Intelligence Agency Operations Report. The secret space program convinced everyone that yesterday, the 31st of October, also known as Halloween in some countries, would be the day things turn around for them. Was there any truth to the story? The last time this happened was almost 2,000 years ago. And the debt call continues with another hit to governments worldwide. Just how long will they be able to survive? And more offers come pouring in pending the upcoming election in the U.S. as the operatives fight over the color of the curtains while the house is burning down. Well, it's the 1st of November, 2024. Boy, did this year go by pretty fast. And this is the Global Intelligence Agency Operations Report. So I guess we should get right to it. It's been a busy couple of days. Yesterday being Halloween in some countries, also this morning, early Eastern time, being the new moon, has led these people to go nuts yet again. Rumors are swirling that there's going to be a lot of attacks in the Middle East. Namely Iran, Israel, all the same people, starting after the 5th. I think it's on the 6th of November. I wonder how they can time when people are going to be attacking one another. That's because, well, that's when the big payday is, I guess. Apparently today was another payday, according to them, because they're all, as we're talking here, it is approaching 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and they are going a little nuts right now. But that's to be expected. Things didn't turn out the way they thought they were going to. As for the crazy people, yes, there were a lot of attempted ceremonies last night. Weird crystal people humming and hawing in different places around the world you're very familiar with. Lots in London, several throughout Italy, and you can imagine that little tiny country in Italy. Vatican, and also known as the Holy See or the Vatican. And they were very, very busy also in the Philippines and some strange islands and some odd places, as well as in China. Middle East, yes, somewhat. They were also doing their ceremonies. And it turns out that nothing happened. I know you're shocked and surprised. I know I was shocked and surprised. Not really, because there was a few little bits and pieces of alien technology and some things that almost kind of started something, but, it was all smoke and no fire, really, for the last 24 hours. So what were they expecting? Why was today such a big day for them? There's a lot of talk on the Q circles about everything happening on the 1st and the 2nd and the 3rd and the 4th and of course the 5th. And according to the Q people, the gateway is opening on the 5th and all these wonderful things are going to happen according to them. Well, there might have been an expectation based on something that happened repeatedly. Matter of fact, it actually happened 3 times in history where we had managed as humanity, and not only as humanity, as others as well, because we had a lot of help, and as we did this time, to flip ourselves over into a neutral age, which is what would have been next. This is the first time. It's the golden age. And every time we had managed to do that, 3 different times through history, something happened. It was preset. We still had a lot of lower astral, let's say, inorganic life beings at the time, and they managed to set a lot of traps in order to flip us back. The last time in Earth's history that this happened was around 250,000 years ago, and we've talked about this. This is what people call the war in Atlantis, or we basically call it the time when the Red Queen was in charge of this planet and she almost wasn't, and then in came her and all her friends and fought against not only us humans, but also against a lot of beings from the light side of the universe at that time. So they had a thought, I guess, because it's a new moon. There are also some other, it is also the last day. I did tell you a few months back that during the Lionsgate back in August of this year, August 8th, that the Lionsgate was going to last a lot longer this year, longer than normal. And Lionsgate is a time of year, well, we call it Lionsgate, but it's a time of year where source, anti-source, and neutral source would align with each other. Well, yesterday would have been the last day of the alignment, hence the reason why they thought, because there was no flip during this time of that alignment, they thought that it would definitely happen on the last day, and something about the new moon being involved in that is what the chatter was. I'm not really sure how they think, but they were under the impression that this was actually going to take place today, by today, no later than the start time of the new moon early this morning, Eastern Standard Time. Nonetheless, there were a few little things that needed to be cleaned up. There was a few connections to the being that we called the Kali Ma, who no longer exists, however, left us some fun gifts should we ever get this far. And that was in China. There was another one in the Middle East. And the last one was actually in the States. So those things were cleaned up yesterday early, before they even got started. We got lucky. Let's put it that way, that we did find those things. So thanks to everyone that helped, including the enforcer, and making sure that those things were cleaned up. And last night they were sadly disappointed. And today, of course, true to form, they write checks that they cannot cash. And next, what happens? Well, yelling, screaming, fighting. And we thought we would help them out a little bit while this yelling and screaming and fighting and panicking was going on, and initiate the next layer of the debt call. And, you do kick your enemy when they're down. Had to happen. And what happened today is that we actually made it down to, say, the mints. The mints are the ones here in the States that issue the coinage. They issue coinage in many other countries as well as the currency printers such as De La Rue and others, and also bond issuers such as AB Corp and the governments that would issue bonds. And government bonds, government treasury notes, those isn't really the government. Those bonds are not really the government's anyway. Lots of old Fed notes and those types of things. So the clawback was real. Up until this morning, before the debt call, it appeared that the United States government had about 3 weeks of cash left, and then there was no place left to look. That's what they're saying anyway, and based on the numbers, that's what's happening. There are some severe threats to people they think actually have some cash and have produced cash for them within the last year. And some of those threats are going to, for example, the Kuwaiti royalty. I know that they've been threatened very heavily to continue to provide cash for the Secret Space Force. Also, the royal family in Bahrain has also been hit up for cash. I think Qatar's pretty well out. Saudi's out. China's beyond out. The European Union had a few weeks left as well as Russia. However, with the recent debt call that happened, by the end of the day, they went from a few weeks to a few days. What are they going to do? I don't know. Sounds like it's a you issue. And not really our issue at this moment in time. So more offers and compromise came in before this untenuous situation on a Friday afternoon started to take place. There was some calls that we got from some people we had done some transactions with in the past within the U.S. Treasury, and those parties would like to know if there's any way we can compromise. Why am I so unyielding when it comes to what's going on with the government? And it sounds to me that, you might have been put up to this from some and I'm sure they were, because we also received a few calls today. Mr. Melville did from the Trump lawyers again, and some other agencies. Oh, because those agencies also had a debt call today. Every intelligence agency in the world did, and the militaries probably are next. So that could cause a big problem for everyone. But, you know, all good things come to an end. Nothing too good or too bad lasts too long, as my grandmother used to say. And I feel the same way for these people. I think they're just used to getting a lot of their own way. It seems like they're used to not really compromising. They're used to telling people a line of EBS, um, and everybody buys it, and then they just do whatever they want. Well, that doesn't work here anymore, and we need to get what we want, and I'm not seeing that happen. I have not officially voted yet on the political line. I have I guess the deadline would be by 3 days before the election. So I have until tomorrow to make that call and on what we're going to do there. Not like they're going to listen to me anyway, but that's the only thing that would be ratified, and that would be the only recognized party by our side of who would actually be able to give orders based on the executive branch of the United States. As far as Congress and those people are concerned, again, we'd just be talking to the same operatives we've been talking to before, and I don't really see that going anywhere. And my comment to these people was, what does the US government, federal government, do? What do they do? Does anybody really know what they do? I mean, I kind of ignored them pretty much for most of my adult life until I got into this position. And I really didn't pay any attention to what federal governments anywhere in the world actually did. It didn't really matter to me because it didn't affect my life any one way or another. So I didn't really care. There's some state laws that were important, driving laws and things like that, you pay attention to. But other than that, I don't really see what they're doing. Yeah, we have Social Security, but that actually comes from the Ways and Means Committee, believe it or not, which is not a government entity. I know they portray themselves to be, and nobody ever talks about them. Nobody in the alt media or in the government really ever mentions the United States Ways and Means Committee. They are responsible for all of your human health services. They're responsible for your state provided Medicare, your Social Security. They do have a lot of dealings with the Department of Education as well. Pretty much anything that services citizens comes out of the Ways and Means Committee. Now, the Ways and Means Committee has been silent in all of this. Haven't heard a word from these people. I wonder why. They're a private entity. They are technically an NGO, a government service agency. And none of those people ever talk. Probably because they're connected to the Ways and Means Committee in the UK, which works underneath the Crown Corporation. That could be it. Don't know. But it would be helpful, if we could hear from these people at some point in the near future. Maybe they have a brain. Maybe they don't have operatives. Maybe that's why we don't hear from them. And maybe they don't care who is in office or not in office. But we could actually work with them directly to make sure Social Security payments are paid, things like state provided health care continue, Medicare continues, other things that actually provide services like such as free public education and all of those things with that private corporation, and completely ignore the government, really. I know that the payments used to go to the Treasury Department, but they don't actually need to because they actually have all the licenses to be their own entity to make transfers through to the government. Now, we have tried this before with other groups, such as the post office. And of course, we told the wrong person, the orange guy, on a diplomatic line about the post office and the postal bank and how it used to be used years ago and how it has a grandfathered license. But that really didn't go anywhere. All they tried to do is take it over and destroy it because, well, they're Duck Dynasty, and what do you expect? But something has got to give. And that person that is going to give this time is not me. So we have things that we want. We have things that we need, not only here in the United States, but all over the world that we expect to happen. And we're not getting that from those people. So we might as well order it from somebody else. There has to be somebody else that we can order those things and request from for programs and funding and, forget the farm loan associations and all that kind of stuff. We could do it better and do it differently, where we're not putting farmers into debt. And I've talked to a few farmers about that, and they think it's a pretty good idea. So I do have my own ideas and thoughts about possible ways of doing things. As for what we can expect next week, it's who knows? Right now, it's complete and total chaos, and no one is making any sense with what they're saying. So your guess is as good as mine. Is there another day ending in Y, where these people think there's another alignment? I don't know. But that gate is closed now, meaning did we lose our connection to source? No, we did not. But as far as any kind of major changes are concerned, that time for them has passed. For approximately the next 2,000 years, we won't see another change like this. But I'm sure they'll probably be willing to wait, and I'm sure they're going to take the governments with them, and they can all wait for 2,000 years for something else to happen. Meanwhile, on our end of it, we pretty much sealed the deal on the golden age completely with no going back for at least the next 2,000 years. And hopefully by then there'll be nothing left to even semi-occur on that day. So I guess you would say it's kind of good news for this week. It ended positively. Halloween wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, at least for myself. Usually that's a day of torture, but not this year. I guess they were busy trying to raise some alien person to help them turn back time. And it wasn't Cher, so don't get any ideas there. But other than that, really not a whole lot else has happened. That was a lot. It was enough unto itself in the last couple of days for me, anyway. And hopefully, we'll be moving forward on our own. We're still continuing to run test transfers and clean up whatever's left, unfortunately. And it's very frustrating for me, and I'm sure it's frustrating for all of you as well. We also have the marketplace launch coming up. We are finishing things up. I should hear more on that this afternoon. So probably, I'm thinking we're probably going to be a few more days away. I don't know how long yet. I'll update you on that on Monday as to the launch of the marketplace. I'm definitely going to be in November. I just don't know which day. I know we've been testing shipping and vendors and all kinds of stuff on the other end and trying to break it so that you don't break it, meaning we want to find all the flaws before a final launch. But the coding team seems very confident. Things are going very well. Our design looks very, very nice. Everybody's done a great job. So thank you, everybody, to everybody that worked on that. From what I understand, we also have some new things coming out for New Earth Innovations in the next 2 weeks. I know we expect to see a magnesium cream for sleep coming out within the next couple of weeks. We also expect to see a lip repair, lip service, lip balm coming out. I know we have some other cellulite creams and joint formulas and a few other things that are in the works that we should be launching within the next 2 weeks, definitely. I want to try to get all that stuff out before the holidays, we hope. That way you have plenty of time depending on where you are in the world. So lots of things going on within our group here. We are continuing to move on, not only on our work front, but also on the other front as well. I just wanted to let you know we didn't forget about anything, and that is November 1st today, and that hopefully that launch will be very soon. I've got my fingers crossed there too. But everybody's very hard at work on our side for all of you, and hopefully it'll be a quiet weekend once everybody gets done yelling at each other this afternoon. On that note, I hope everybody has a wonderful Friday, and I will see you on Monday.